Welcome to Seriously Sus, the podcast exposing shadiness with a side eye, hosted by Nanette and Miranda. We're here to uncover the internet drama and cultural chaos that make you stop and go, wait a damn minute. So, get your side eyes ready because things are about to get seriously sus. The scam economy. Why everyone online is selling you something. So, I saw a guy online the other day who said he made $50,000 last month.
That's impressive. What does he do?
He teaches people how to make $50,000 a month.
Ah, of course. And how did he learn?
Well, from another guy who teaches people how to make $50,000 a month.
It's like watching financial inbreeding.
Exactly. At this point, I don't know if anyone is actually running a business anymore or if we've all just agreed to teach each other how to pretend we're running businesses.
Sounds about right. I bet somewhere out there there's a guy selling a course, how to sell a course about selling courses, and somehow it's probably his bestseller.
Honestly, if you spent any time on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, or even LinkedIn lately, you've probably been told you could quit your job, make a passive income while you sleep, start an AI agency and become a millionaire with drop shipping, or you can retire before you're 40.
And somehow every single one of these people is filming from the driver's seat of a luxury car.
Which raises today's question. If everyone online knows the secret to getting rich, why are they spending so much time trying to sell it to strangers?
Welcome back to Seriously Sus, the podcast where we examine cultural chaos, internet drama, and all the strange corners of modern life that leave us asking, how did we get here, and what possessed people to think this was a good idea? I'm Nanette.
And I'm Miranda.
Today we're talking about something that's become so common we almost don't notice it anymore. The internet has turned into one giant marketplace where everyone seems to be selling a shortcut. Whether it's money, happiness, productivity, health, confidence, relationships, or a six-pack of abs, apparently someone has cracked the code, and they're willing to share it with you for only $997.
Plus tax.
Naturally.
Now, before anyone gets defensive, this episode isn't about saying all coaches are scams or all online courses are worthless. There are incredible teachers, consultants, creators, and entrepreneurs out there who genuinely know their stuff and provide real value.
The problem is that the internet has made it incredibly easy for legitimate experts and professional grifters to use almost identical marketing. Sometimes it's surprisingly difficult to tell the difference.
And that's what fascinates us because the real story isn't about the scams, it's about the incentives. The platforms reward attention. Attention builds trust, and trust creates influence. And influence, as you all know, can be turned into money.
Which means confidence has become its own business model. Rise of the Internet Guru.
You know, growing up, if you wanted to learn something, there were only a handful of places you looked. You learned from your teachers, professors, books, trade schools, licensed professionals, or, maybe someone who spent 30 years doing that job.
They were gatekeepers. Sometimes those gatekeepers were frustrating, and the internet absolutely changed that for the better. Today, you can learn coding from YouTube, watch a university lecture for free, find cooking lessons from professional chefs, or learn woodworking from someone who's been building furniture for decades.
Democratization information is one of the best things the internet has ever done.
But here's the catch. It didn't just democratize information. It democratized expertise, or at least the appearance of expertise.
That is really such an important distinction because now anyone can buy a decent camera, rent a podcast studio for an hour, put on a nice blazer, and stand in front of a whiteboard covered in buzzwords, and suddenly they're introducing themselves as a business strategist.
My favorite is when they have that wireless microphone clipped to their shirt while walking through a parking garage,
Right? Bonus points if they're carrying a laptop that they've never actually opened.
right? Or they're filming in first class, where we never actually see where the plane lands. We just know they wanted us to know they turned left instead of right when boarding.
All right, fancy.
Yeah.
Exactly. The props have become such a part of the product, like that luxury car, the modern penthouse, the rented mansion, even a podcast microphone, a white Tesla. Like somewhere there's probably a warehouse just full of Lamborghinis whose only a job is appearing in motivational videos.
I wouldn't doubt it. Before social media, though, people generally said, trust me, I'm qualified. Today it's often, trust me because I have followers.
And that's a completely different kind of authority. Followers are not credentials. Views are not a peer review. And going viral doesn't magically make someone an expert in finance, medicine, investing, relationships, nutrition, or running a business.
Yet, psychologically, our brains don't always separate popularity from credibility. If someone has millions of followers, professional looking videos, glowing testimonials, and a polished website, it's easy to assume that they must know what they're talking about.
That's social proof doing exactly what it's supposed to do. We naturally assume that if thousands or millions of other people trust someone, maybe we should too.
Which is why the whole ecosystem works so well. Most people aren't lying awake at night thinking, I hope I'll find a questionable internet guru tomorrow. They're looking for answers. They're trying to pay off debt, escape a job they hate, build a business, lose weight, improve their lives, or create more freedoms for themselves.
I mean, those are completely understandable goals. The problem is that hope is incredibly marketable. If you could convince someone that you have a shortcut they've been searching for, you've already won half the battle.
And somewhere along the way, the internet discovered something incredibly profitable. Selling the dream is often easier than delivering the result.
Which unfortunately brings us to an uncomfortable question. If someone really has figured out how to make millions of dollars working 2 hours a week, why are they spending 14 hours a day on motivational reels?
That's going to be our working hypothesis for this entire episode. Every time someone promises effortless wealth, passive income, or one weird trick they don't want you to know, ask yourself one simple question. If this works as well as they're claiming, why is their primary business teaching other people how to do it?
That's an excellent question.
The psychology of selling dreams.
So let's talk about why this works, because it's easy to sit back and think, who would fall for that shit? But the truth is, these businesses aren't successful because everyone else is stupid. They're successful because they tap into some very human emotions.
Exactly. Most people aren't buying information. Information is practically free now. I mean, you can learn almost anything online if you're willing to spend the time looking for it. What people are actually buying is the promise that this particular person has organized all the information into one magical shortcut.
Or even more than that, they're buying certainty.
Yes. Think about how overwhelming life feels sometimes.
All the time.
Yep, maybe you're struggling with finances. Maybe you're burned out. Maybe you're worried about retirement or feel like everyone else has figured out adulthood except you. Then someone pops up on your feed saying, I have the exact blueprint. Just follow my system.
That certainty is incredibly comforting. We all want someone to tell us, do these 5 things specifically, and your life will get better.
It's funny because if you listen carefully, most of these sales pitches aren't even about money. They're about freedom. They say things like, imagine waking up without an alarm clock, or imagine never asking your boss for vacation again, or imagine making money while you're spending time with your family.
They're selling a future version of yourself.
Exactly. Nobody wakes up thinking, I just learned to love supply chains. I should buy a drop shipping course. They're thinking, I hate living paycheck to paycheck.
Or I'm exhausted and I don't want to spend 40 years in a job I hate.
Those feelings are real. And that's why this marketing is so effective. It starts with a legitimate pain point and then introduces an incredibly simple solution.
Which is almost always followed by a countdown timer.
Naturally.
Have you noticed that these offers somehow always are about to disappear? Enrollment closes tonight. Only 3 spots left. Last chance. Meanwhile, you check back 6 months later and somehow there's still exactly 3 spots left.
Those 3 spots have survived longer than some restaurants.
Oh, for real, huh?
Hmm.
So, this is one of the oldest persuasion techniques in the book, though. Scarcity makes us afraid we'll miss out. Even if we weren't planning on buying it in the first place, suddenly we're thinking, well, maybe I should before it's gone.
And then they layer on social proof screenshots of Stripe accounts, PayPal balances, testimonials, photos of smiling students, before and after stories. Sometimes you'll see 100 comments saying, This changed my life.
Which, by the way, doesn't necessarily mean those comments are fake. Some are absolutely real, I guess. But testimonials only tell you about the people who succeed or think they succeeded. They don't tell you about the hundreds of thousands of people who bought the course, never made their money back, and quietly moved on.
It's survivorship bias. We hear from the winners because the winners make great marketing.
Imagine if the gyms only advertise like with Olympic athletes.
Exactly. You'd walk in expecting abs by Thursday.
That's the dream.
If only.
Another thing these businesses really do well is create the illusion that you're joining like an exclusive club. You're not buying a course, you're joining this inner circle, a mastermind, a mentorship, private community.
I have to laugh every time I hear the word mastermind. It sounds like you're about to join a secret society where everyone wears velvet capes and discusses passive income by candlelight.
I think Ben Franklin went to that party.
Oh, yeah. I bet he would. I bet he hosted it.
Right? So instead, it's usually just a Discord server with like 600 people all asking the exact same questions over and over again.
And maybe one moderator telling everyone to keep showing up.
Which brings us to another really clever tactic. They often make lack of results your fault instead of the system's fault.
That's such an important point because if the business doesn't work, it wasn't because the method was flawed. It was because you didn't manifest hard enough. You didn't grind hard enough. You didn't believe enough. You didn't stay consistent enough. And you didn't invest in the premium coaching package.
Somehow the answer is always to spend more money.
Funny how that works.
It's actually brilliant from the business standpoint, though. The product becomes almost impossible to criticize because any failure gets reframed as failure of the customer rather than of the promises itself.
And we should acknowledge that legitimate coaching and education can absolutely challenge people and require effort. That's normal. The difference is that ethical teachers don't promise guaranteed outcomes, and they don't blame every disappointed student for not wanting success badly enough.
They also tend to be honest about uncertainty. A good financial advisor isn't going to promise you're going to become a millionaire. A good fitness coach isn't going to promise everyone loses 50 pounds. And a good business consultant isn't going to say every company will double its revenue.
Real experts sound less certain.
That's one of the great ironies of the internet, isn't it? That people with the most expertise often spend more time talking about nuance, limitations, and expectations. Meanwhile, the least qualified person in the room is absolutely convinced they've solved every problem known to humanity.
Confidence is persuasive. Competence takes a little more work to recognize.
The loudest person in the room always seems to.
Yes, what is it? The Dunning something effect.
Right,
Why am I not remembering that? Ah, well, I'm sure you all know what we're talking about.
right. Social media is not particularly good at rewarding nuance. Well, it depends isn't exactly a kind of a sentence that goes viral, you know?
No, but I discovered the secret they don't want you to know apparently still has a thriving fan base.
Ah, the royal they.
Yes.
Which is why the next question becomes really interesting, though. If these psychological techniques are so powerful, who exactly is making the money? Is it the people following their advice, or is it the people selling it?
Fake experts, real money. So let's follow the money because this is where things start generally getting really interesting. We hear a lot of people talk about making fortunes with crypto, drop shipping, Amazon stores, affiliate marketing, AI business, real estate, or whatever trend of the month that happens to be. But if you look a little closer, sometimes their biggest source of income isn't the thing that they're teaching, it's teaching the thing they're teaching.
And that's the part that always makes me pause. Someone says, I built $1 million business with my amazing system. Okay, well, then why aren't you busy running that multi-million-dollar business?
Instead, you're posting 6 TikToks a day, hosting webinars every Wednesday, sending daily email newsletters, running Facebook ads, launching a podcast, recording YouTube videos, managing affiliates, answering comments, and holding life coaching calls.
That's not passive income. That's full-time content creation company.
Exactly. And don't get us wrong, content creation is absolutely real work. Hell, we only do one episode a week, and
And we bust our ass on it.
yeah. And there are creators who spend countless hours writing, filming, editing, research, and building legitimate business. But let's stop pretending that filming yourself in front of a rented Lamborghini is the exact same thing as accidentally making money while you sleep.
Speaking of Lamborghinis, can we talk about what I call the luxury prop economy?
Ooh, I love this already.
Somewhere along the line, expensive looking stuff became evidence of expertise. You don't have to explain your business model if you're standing next to sports cars. Our brains just kind of fill in the blanks.
Yeah. There's actually a psychological shortcut happening here. We see visible signs of success and assume that they must be the result of competence. We rarely stop to ask whether the car is leased, rented, borrowed, sitting outside someone else's Airbnb.
There have been people caught filming content in front of luxury homes that they don't own. They're climbing into these exotic cars that are rented by the hour. They're even staging private jet photos without the plane ever taking off.
My favorites are those fake private jet sets. Literally a movie set built to look like the inside of a Gulfstream so influencers can take photos pretending they're flying all over the world.
Imagine explaining that to someone from like 1995.
So, let me get this straight. You paid money to sit inside of a fake airplane so strangers on the internet would think you were rich enough to own a real airplane?
Correct.
And then those strangers paid you money because they believed you were rich?
Also correct.
It sounds ridiculous when you say it out loud, but that's how aspirational marketing works. People don't just buy information, they buy the identity they think comes with it.
Which brings us to one of the most famous examples of internet lifestyle marketing, Ty Lopez.
Ah, yes, the infamous garage video.
If you were online around like 2015 or 16, you almost certainly remember this. He's standing in a garage next to a Lamborghini talking about books, knowledge, and success. Whether you loved him or rolled your eyes at him, that ad became one of the defining images of internet entrepreneurship.
And what's fascinating is that people still remember the Lamborghini more than they remember what he was actually selling.
What was he selling? I don't know. Exactly, though. The image became the message. The luxury car wasn't just transportation, it was social proof. It said, I have the life you want. Therefore, I must know something you don't.
That's a really powerful sales technique because our brains naturally connect visible success with expertise, even when one doesn't necessarily prove the other.
We see this everywhere now, though. Like someone posts from a luxury resort, they're suddenly qualified to teach investing.
Mm-hmm.
Someone goes viral talking about productivity. Next week, they're launching a leadership mastermind. Someone loses weight and suddenly they're selling life coaching.
There's nothing wrong with sharing your expertise. That's actually valuable. The problem starts when one personal success story gets turned into universal advice.
Exactly. This worked for me quietly becomes this will work for everyone.
And that's a huge leap.
It also ignores something people don't like to talk about, luck.
Yes, success is almost always a combination of skill, timing, opportunity, persistence, relationships, privilege, and yes, sometimes plain old luck. But luck doesn't make for a very compelling sales page.
Nobody's buying a course called I happen to be in the right place at the right time.
Chapter 1. Honestly, I got lucky.
It would be refreshingly honest.
Instead, success gets packaged into neat little formulas: 7 steps, 5 secrets, 3 hacks, 1 blueprint.
Because formulas are easier to sell than uncertainty.
And that's where we start seeing something really strange happen. People begin building entire businesses around teaching entrepreneurship without necessarily running much of an actual business outside of teaching entrepreneurship.
It's almost like a hall of mirrors. Every reflection is another person explaining how they became successful by explaining how to become successful.
Yep, which leads us into what might be the weirdest business model the internet has ever created: making money by teaching other people how to make money, teaching other people how to make money.
Say that 3 times real fast.
I'd rather not. I think I just created an infinity loop.
Oh, don't worry. We're about to climb into that loop. Because once you see how these business models actually work, you start realizing why the internet suddenly has so many self proclaimed millionaires. When coaching starts looking suspiciously pyramid shaped. Before we jump into this section, I want to make something really clear because words matter. Not every coaching business is an MLM, and not every MLM is illegal.
Check out most of them before you join.
For real. There are legitimate consultants, executive coaches, career coaches, fitness coaches, and mentors who provide real value to their clients.
Exactly. This isn't about saying coaching is a scam. It's about recognizing when a business starts looking like it's making money from recruiting people into the business rather than from the product or service being offered.
Right, that's not coaching.
No. No, that would be that pyramid thing.
Pyramid shaped. See, that's where my internal alarm really starts going off.
Mine too, because there's a simple question I like to ask: who's the customer?
Ooh, that's a good one.
If the answer is people who genuinely need this service, great. If the answer starts sounding more like people who want to become sellers of this advice, then I'm paying much closer attention.
That's why so many people compare certain coaching ecosystems to MLMs, though. It's not because they're like legally the same thing, but their incentives start to look familiar.
Yeah, let's talk about those similarities. One is constant upselling. You buy the beginner course, then you're encouraged to join the masterminds. Then the mastermind recommends the elite mastermind. Then there's the VIP coaching, the certification, exclusive retreat, then the inner circle. Somehow there's always another level.
It's like a video game where every time you unlock a new level, they tell you the real game starts at the next level.
Exactly. Eventually, you're wandering around, wondering if you've learned anything or if you just became really good at entering your credit card information.
Another thing that catches my attention is when success becomes tied to recruiting more people into the same system.
Right. If the people making the most money are the ones teaching new people how to sell the exact same opportunity, you have to ask whether the product is really the product or if the opportunity itself has become the product.
Or if we're the product.
Infinity loop.
That's where things start to get a little fuzzy, though, because you're not just selling knowledge, you're selling a chance that someday I'll sell that same knowledge.
Which is why you'll constantly hear people joke that the product isn't skincare or supplements or business coaching. The product is hope.
Rebellions are built on hope.
Hmm.
All right, so that's actually kind of heartbreaking when you think about it, though.
It is. Most people joining these programs aren't greedy, they're optimistic. They're trying to improve their lives. Maybe they need extra income. I mean, who doesn't these days? Maybe they want to stay home with their kids. Maybe they were laid off or burnt out. Those are all very real situations.
And that's something I really think gets lost in these conversations because, like, it's easy to laugh at this obviously ridiculous marketing, but the people buying into these systems are often just looking for stability and opportunity.
Exactly. Hope isn't foolish, it's human.
And unfortunately, hope can be monetized.
And that's often why you'll see emotional storytelling front and center. You'll hear things like, I was drowning in debt. I was working 3 jobs. I missed my kids growing up. And again, some of these stories may be completely true, but they're also incredibly powerful sales tools because they help viewers see themselves in that journey.
We don't buy it because we understand the business model. We buy it because we identify with the person telling the story.
Parasocial relationships play a huge role here, too.
A parasocial relationship is that one sided feeling of familiarity you develop with someone you've never actually met. Like you watch their videos every day, you listen to their podcasts, you follow their stories, and eventually you start feeling like a trusted friend.
And if someone feels like your friend, you're much more likely to trust their recommendations.
Which is why influencers have become such effective marketers. They're not selling to strangers, they're selling to people who already feel really connected to them.
Sometimes you'll even hear things like, I'm only sharing this because I wish someone had told me sooner. Or, I usually don't recommend products, but this changed my life.
Meanwhile, there's an affiliate link like directly underneath.
Imagine my surprise.
Now, affiliate marketing is completely legitimate. It's been around for decades. If someone recommends a product they genuinely use and clearly disclose they're earning commission, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. We would totally do that.
Yeah, of course. But the issues come up when the financial incentive isn't obvious, or when every recommendation somehow happens to be the greatest product ever invented.
It's amazing how many life-changing products appear like the week a sponsorship contract is signed.
It's almost if miracles have quarterly revenue targets.
Exactly.
I think one of the healthiest questions we can ask whenever someone is giving advice online is, how do they make their money?
Not because making money is suspicious. Everyone deserves to be paid for their work. But understanding incentives helps you evaluate information.
If someone's income depends on convincing you that your current life is broken and only their program can fix it, that's important context.
And if every problem somehow leads to the exact same solution they're selling.
Well, that's probably worth a little side eye.
Which brings us to the part of the episode I think is most useful. So we talked about psychology and we talked about marketing and we talked about business models. So how do you actually tell the difference between someone offering legitimate expertise and someone who's really, really, really good at selling hope?
How to spot legitimate advice versus a grift. So we've spent the last 30 minutes or so giving the internet a healthy amount of side eye. So let's end with something practical. Because the goal isn't to make everyone cynical, it's to make all of us a little more skeptical.
I'm already cynical enough for all of us, don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we don't want people walking away thinking that every online creator is a scammer. I mean, that's just not the case. But some of the best things I've ever learned came from people I found online. There are incredible educators on YouTube. I learned how to fix my toilet and my shower from YouTube. It was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And they have fantastic business consultants out there too. Licensed professionals are sharing free information. And there are a lot of creators who genuinely care about helping people.
The trick isn't avoiding everyone who's selling something. The trick is learning how to evaluate what they're selling and why they're selling it.
Ooh, do we get to play a game now?
Yes.
All right, let's play a game called Green Flag or Red Flag.
I love a list.
First, green flag. Real experts usually acknowledge limitations. If someone says, this worked for many of my clients, but it won't be a right fit for everyone, that's actually a really good sign.
I completely agree. The more experience someone has, the more they usually appreciate how complicated people are. Doctors don't promise every treatment will work. Financial planners don't guarantee every investment will succeed. And lawyers don't guarantee every case will be won. Real experts usually come with a healthy respect for the uncertainty.
Which brings us to our first red flag guarantees.
If someone promises you'll make six figures, retire in a year, lose 50 pounds in 30 days, or completely transform your life with zero risk, your skepticism should kick in immediately.
Especially if the phrase guaranteed income appears anywhere,
Or everyone can do this.
because I probably can't, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
Because no legitimate opportunity works for literally everyone.
Another green flag is transparency. Can they actually explain what they do? Can they show their experience? Can you verify their background? Are they willing to talk about failures as well as successes?
Man, that's a big one for me. I actually trust people more when they admit like all the stuff that went wrong and wacky and awry, like on the journey to success.
Absolutely. Me too. Because if someone's entire online presence is one uninterrupted victory lap, I'm immediately suspicious.
Right? Life simply just does not work that way.
And neither do business.
Another question I always ask though is like, what happens if I remove the luxury lifestyle from this presentation?
Oh, that's a good filter.
Seriously, take away the Lamborghini, remove the mansion, delete those awesome vacation photos. It does look like fun though, and ignore the screenshots of bank accounts. If all that disappeared, would there still be any valuable advice underneath this?
Honestly, that's one of my favorite questions from this entire episode.
Because if the marketing depends more on status symbols than actual expertise, the status symbols are probably doing a lot of the heavy lifting.
And here's another green flag. They spend more time talking about the work than the lifestyle.
Yes, they explain the process, they discuss mistakes, they talk about customers, and they describe how long it actually takes.
They don't just say, look how rich I am. They explain how value gets created.
Compare that with someone who spends 90% of the video talking about how much money they make and only 10% explaining what they actually do.
Or they never explain it at all.
For fucking real, man.
And another thing I look for is whether someone encourages independent thinking. Good educators usually want you to outgrow them. They want you to verify information, ask questions, and develop your own judgment.
Grifters often want the opposite. They position themselves as the only person with the answers. Every problem somehow leads back to, well, you guessed it, buying the next product.
Yep, which is a business model, not necessarily an educational philosophy.
So here's a practical tip. Look who benefits if you believe what they're saying.
That's such a useful habit in general.
If someone says, the financial system is broken, but my course, or the medical establishment is hiding the truth, buy my supplements, or your job is keeping you poor, buy my mentorship. Ask yourself, who benefits from that conclusion?
Again, it doesn't automatically make the claim false. It just reminds you that incentives matter.
Yep, we all have incentives. Journalists have incentives, companies have incentives, influencers have incentives, even we have incentives.
Right?
We wish we had sponsors to
Yeah, right? If we had sponsors, we'd tell you when we do. We also encourage you to fact check us. We cite all of our sources on our website for each episode.
And if we're wrong about something, let us know, man. We're just human.
Yeah. Right? We want you to read our sources and come to your own conclusions. Healthy skepticism shouldn't stop with internet gurus. It should apply to everyone.
Including us.
Absolutely, especially us.
One last red flag before we wrap this all up. Beware of anyone selling certainty.
And that's really the theme of this entire episode.
Life is complicated. Business is complicated. Investing is complicated. Health is fucking really complicated.
Yep.
And anyone who claims they discovered one secret that solves everything is probably overselling something.
Real experts usually sound something like, it depends, which at this point now we just need to get that on a t-shirt.
It depends. It depends. I don't know. That's probably the least viral sentence ever spoken.
We all know the algorithm hates nuance.
It really does. Nuance does not fit into a 30-second reel with dynamic music and captions flying across the screen, all whoosh, whoosh.
Right, but nuance is usually where the truth lies.
So, for our conclusion, I think what fascinates me most about all of this is that the internet didn't invent scams. People have been selling miracle cures and get rich quick schemes and magical solutions for centuries. What they used to call it, snake oils?
Snake oil, yep. Now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder where that term came from.
Ooh, we'll have to add that to a future episode.
Yes.
So where did snake oils come from? If you guys know, I mean, tune in. We're curious.
Or let us know.
Yeah.
What the internet did, though, for this was remove almost every barrier between the salesperson and the customer. You no longer needed a storefront, a publisher, or television network, or even a sales team. All you need is a smartphone, an internet connection. Well, actually, not if you have a smartphone.
That's right.
And the ability to hold someone's attention.
And that's what this episode has really been about. Attention.
Attention has become one of the most valuable currencies on earth. And if you tune in for the next 2 weeks, we're going to do some deep diving into attention spans and the attention economy.
Look at us flowing and shit.
Yeah. Who knew?
Right?
I certainly didn't wrote this.
The strange part is that the popularity and credibility have started looking almost like interchangeable online, though.
But they're not the same thing. 1 million followers doesn't automatically make somebody right. A blue check mark isn't a professional license.
Yeah, you could just buy that.
Absolutely. And a viral video is absolutely not evidence.
And confidence is not competence.
Exactly.
So maybe the question isn't, should we trust people online? I mean, that's really impossible.
Maybe the better question is, why do I trust this person? Is it because they demonstrated expertise? Or because they're charismatic? Is it because they've shown evidence? Or because they look successful?
That's the muscle we really all need to strengthen.
Because most of the people selling courses aren't criminals. Many genuinely believe in what they're teaching. Some have built outstanding businesses, and others provide real education. But mixed in with them are people who have figured out that selling hope is often easier and sometimes far more profitable than delivering results.
And that's why asking questions is not being cynical, it's being informed.
The internet has given us access to more knowledge than any generation in history. It's also given us access to more people trying to monetize our attention than ever before.
Which means the most valuable skill in the modern economy might not be learning like your next side hustle.
It might be learning to tell the difference between someone selling knowledge and someone selling a dream.
Honestly, just knowing what to believe on the internet.
Right?
The internet has made it easier than ever to learn almost anything. You could take classes from world-renowned professors, learn a trade from experienced professionals, watch skilled craftspeople build incredible things, or find creators who genuinely want to share what they've learned. And that's one of the greatest things about living in the information age.
But that same accessibility also means anyone can present themselves as an expert. The barriers to entry are lower than they've ever been. And while that's opened the door for a lot of talented people, it's also opened the door for a lot of people who are really good at marketing themselves.
That's why this episode isn't really about courses or coaches or influencers. It's about incentives. Social media rewards attention. Attention creates trust. Trust creates influence, and influence can become incredibly powerful and profitable for a business.
Most of the people we've talked about today probably aren't sitting in a secret underground lair plotting to scam the world. Many genuinely believe in what they're teaching.
And that's really the takeaway. Don't stop learning. Don't stop investing in yourself. Just remember that confidence isn't the same thing as competence, and popularity is improved. And if someone promises you they discovered that one secret that will solve every problem in your life, you know, maybe keep your credit card in your wallet for the day.
Ask questions, look for evidence, verify credentials, pay attention to incentives. And remember that real expertise comes with a nuance, uncertainty, and a willingness to admit when there isn't an easy answer.
Because if there's one thing we've learned from covering internet culture, it's that people making the biggest promises are often ones asking for the money the fastest.
Isn't that the truth?
Thanks for listening to Seriously Sus. If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd love if you subscribe, leave us a review, share it with that one friend who has forwarded you approximately 17 This AI Side Hustle Made Me a Millionaire videos.
You know who you are. So we want to hear from you. Have you ever bought an online course that was actually fantastic? Have you encountered a guru that immediately set off your scam detector? Or is there another internet trend that's giving you serious side eye?
Send us your stories, your suggestions, and your favorite examples of the internet chaos. You can reach out through our social media channels or you can email us. We read everything. And your idea might end up in a future episode.
Until next time, stay curious, stay skeptical, and stay seriously sus.
Outro music. Do, 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 do. Don't buy scams online. Do, do, do.